The event will begin shortly. A private spiritual community dedicated to integration, healing, and personal transformation. Everything shared here today is for educational and spiritual purposes only. Whether you're exploring microdosing, preparing for a journey, or seeking integration support, you are in the right place. The event will begin shortly.
Oh, sorry about that. I was muted. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Hope you're having a blessed week. Happy Tuesday. My name is Gustavo Moreno. You can call me Gus. You can call me Tabo, whichever you like. And before we begin, I got a promise for you. You are completely welcome to just listen and observe tonight. Nothing to share, nothing to perform, no story you have to tell. Just being here is enough. All right, welcome Jessica, welcome Shantae, welcome Rachel. How are you doing today? I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes to see if anyone else comes in, and we can start. So, as I said, I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a happy holidays and celebrations. Tonight, is about something quiet that so many of us carry inside of us. It is about that persistent feeling that we are somehow not quite enough. Does this resonate? Yes, Rachel, I see. I see a smile on that face. Very good. Well, I want to say this right at the beginning, okay? It is one of the most common human experiences there is, okay? Feeling like somehow you're just not enough, okay? Welcome, Sanam. Welcome, Ellie. We're just starting. So, yes, today we're talking about feeling not enough or not feeling enough. It is one of the most common human experiences there is, right? I believe most of us might have felt this. It touches men and women the same, every kind of background and every kind of level of success, whichever your metrics are. So, yeah, you are in very good company today. And here's what we're going to build towards tonight, okay? That feeling that you get is not the truth about yourself. It is a narrative you internalized over time. It is a story that you have learned. And as anything that you've learned, you can begin to unlearn it, right? That is the whole promise of this next 30 or so minutes, okay? That we can begin to unlearn these behaviors. Now, one quick thing to tuck away, okay? If you want the free private self worth check, I'll mention it later. You can text the word worth, WORTH, to the number 441-331. Okay, sorry, 239-441-4331. Okay, I'm going to leave it here in the comments. You can text the word worth right here. All right, perfect. So, with that out of the way, let's continue. So, the quiet voice that says you're not enough. Let's just name it honestly and see what lands. It runs quietly underneath everything. Even when things are going well, there's still this low, soft voice that says, "You haven't done enough. You haven't done enough. You haven't done enough. You aren't enough." That one day you'll be found out. Okay? And it wears disguises, this voice. It wears the disguise of perfectionism. It wears the disguise of people pleasing. It wears the disguise of overworking. Never letting yourself rest. Just shrinking the rooms around you. They look different, but underneath is the same wound. And here's the cruelest part: it doesn't feel like a story, it feels like a simple, obvious fact about who you are. That's actually how you know this thing goes very deep. All right? But listen, this is not you and this is not yours. You were not born believing you were not enough. Somebody or something handed this to you. It might have been moments, it might have been words, it might have been comparisons. And unfortunately, you learn it. And that means with the right tools and the right support, you can unlearn it. And that's what we're aiming for tonight. All right, so we have 4 steps back to your inherent value. All right, oh, sorry about that. There you go. So, here's what we're going to actually do tonight. Not just talk about self worth and self esteem, but we're going to practice a real tool. All right, 4 steps: notice, name it, return, and receive. I just want to take a quick minute to say hi to Sharisha, JD, and Jesse Perez, who have come tonight. Hi, Jesse, how are you? Thank you for joining. All right. Okay, so let's begin with noticing. We catch the not enough voice in the act. That's noticing. Now that we notice, we have to put a name on it. We have to name it. And we see it for what it really is. It is a learned story. It is not the truth. It's just a story made up. Then we return. We get underneath the story to what was always there, the truth that's underlying this lie that has been built over it. And then we receive. We let your word back in. Okay, we let your word back. All right, and I'll show you what that actually makes it stick. Each step has a teaching part and a doing part. The doing is always optional, but I promise is worth it. And let's start with step one. Okay? Step one is noticing, okay? Is notice. And here's why it comes first. The inner critic survives by staying invisible. It never announces itself. It doesn't say, "Hello, I am your critical voice. I'm here to mess you up." No. It speaks in the first person as I am not good enough. I always mess this up. I always get the same results no matter how hard I try. And because it uses your own voice, you never think to question it. Huh? You just assume This is you. This is part of your personality. This is who I am. Hmm, but it is not. As it gets loud, it gets loudest right at the edges. Okay, maybe right before you try something or put yourself out there, or even just when you're trying to let yourself rest. And its whole job is to keep you small. To keep you small because small feels safe, right? And simply by hearing it and catching it in the act, we got ourselves in the first act of freedom. Because you cannot challenge a story you can't ever hear. Am I right? All right. Now let's catch the voice. Oh, sorry, I already put this in. So if you're ready, just do this quietly in your head. That's no worries. It's completely fine. No one's watching. But let's close our eyes and think of a recent moment you felt not enough. Think about your day or maybe the weekend. Maybe someone did a comparison you did not like, or someone made a mistake, or maybe you entered a room when you just got quiet and small. Let's find them. You can text them in the chat if you want. I'll be seeing them. Now, let's catch the exact sentence the voice said. And I don't mean the feeling, but like the actual words. I feel small because there's a lot of very intelligent people in this room, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to follow their conversations. So I'm too little. I'm too small. I'll never be enough. Whatever form it takes for you, okay? Just think about it. Try to hear it, okay? Now, in this exercise, let's try to just change one word. Replace I with you. It's gonna be something like you are not good enough. Say it that way inside your head and notice. Does it suddenly sound like it's coming from someone else? Weird, right? Here's the question. Whose voice is that really? Huh? Most people, when they do this, they realize it isn't their own voice at all. Maybe it's a parent, or maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a friend from long ago. It might be a very old moment that never truly healed. I know in my part, there's a lot of stuff I hear in my head that is actually my father just going at it in my ears. And that's okay. I just recognize that all these things were said by my dad, and I have to work on them because it's not me, it's not mine. They were given to me, and I have to do the work. I have to do something good with this that I have been given. And that right there is the proof that this was installed into you. It is not really you. All right. Now, let's name it. Okay. I'm glad we went to this process together. Hey, Toby, welcome. Thank you for coming. All right. Now, in this part of the exercise, let's call it step two. We're going to name it. Okay. And here's a little bit of how the brain works in this part. Remember that your mind runs on well worn grooves, okay? Pathways. Anything you repeat enough becomes automatic. For example, I my first language is Spanish, but I've been speaking English for so long that it just rolls off my tongue. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying, but it becomes automatic. Okay, it fires become you can even think. That's what I'm getting. So the I'm not enough part isn't a fact you keep proving. It is actually a rut your mind rolls into just out of pure habit. You feel me? All right. So every time that story ran over the years, it dug a groove a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper. Not because it is true, but because it's practiced. And I want you to really hear this. Familiar or familiarity is not the same as true. All right? That's why it feels like a fact. A thought you've had 10,000 times feels certain, obvious. But that certainty is just wear and tear. It's not real evidence. And simply naming it, and this is the old story, not the truth, it actually interrupts this groove, and you can start changing the path. The pathway can only stay deep as long as you keep believing this is you. All right, so hold on to this idea of grooves and pathways, because in a few minutes I'm going to show you what actually helps your brain carve brand new ones, because that's where the real shift in self-worth comes from. Right? Now, name the story. Let's name the story. Let's take the critic's sentence from before and give it the whole story a name. The not enough story, all right? The old tape. Whatever fits for you, whatever name you want to put it. Now, what I want you to do is say this line to it. All right? Refer to it as something foreign from you. All right? This is not yours. Remember, this is not yours. You're going to address it as something foreign. This is the old story. It is not the truth about me. All right? You can repeat this as many times as you want, and you will notice you don't have to argue with it. You just don't. You don't have to win any debate. You're not fighting with it. You just have to name it for what it is and feel that little half inch of a space that just opened between you and your thoughts. All right? We're creating that space. This half inch of space that we have now created is everything. That's where you get to choose who you listen to. You just did something most people never learn. They never learn to do it. You step back from the voice instead of being run by it. That's the magic of this exercise. All right? Now, let's carve a new groove. All right? This is the meat and potatoes of this class. All right? Because in step 3, we're returning, right? Naming the old story, it gets it quiet, but that groove is still carved in there. All right? To truly return to your worth, your brain has to build a new pathway. And here's the science. This is the part which I love to talk. The brain builds new pathways best in a window of heightened openness, a state where the old patterns are loosened and the new ones can actually form. Now, there are some researchers that call this neuroplasticity. And some experiences open that window much wider than it ordinarily does, in daily life. So, there are two paths people explore for this. And I want to actually explain the differences because they're often confused. The first is microdosing. A microdose is a very small, sub-perceptual amount of sacred plant medicine. And you might be wondering, but Dava, what's sub-perceptual? And basically, sub-perceptual is that you don't feel high. You don't get high. Sub-perceptual, I'm sorry, means you don't feel altered. You don't trip. You go about your day. And taken on a gentle schedule, it's like putting a little water on a hard soil each day. It slowly softens that all not enough groove so new habits of self kindness can take root over the weeks. And the second I wanted to talk about is a journey. A journey is the deeper, guided, immersive experience. It is not gradual, it's a health session with a facilitator, and it can open that window of openness wide all at once. All right? In that state, the old story can loosen its grip completely. And people very often meet the part of themselves that was whole all along. It was just underneath that story. All right. So, different tools, same destination. Carving a new groove back to your own worth. One is a slow daily practice. One is a deep, occasional experience. Which one fits a particular person depends entirely up to them, their story, their nervous system, their goals. And that's a real conversation. It's not something I can actually put on a slide. But now let's get back to our process and our final step, which is leave. We are going to return to what's underneath. Okay, let's do this exercise real quick. Okay, um, you can close your eyes if you want. If not, that's okay. I want you to picture yourself as a young child between 5, 6 years old, just before any of this story was ever installed. All right? Look at that little one. Yay. Were they worthy of love by just existing? They were. Not because they achieved anything, not because they earned anything, just for being there, for being alive. They were loved. That child you're imagining right now, it's still alive in you. Your worth was never earned and it was never lost. It just got covered by the story. Now, put your hand in your heart real quick and let this be true for just one breath. I was worthy before the story, and I still am. All right? Once again, I was worthy before the story, and I still am. Very good. Now come back whenever you're ready. That little glimpse you just got, that's a taste. A journey is what lets you live there instead of just visiting for just one breath. But even a glimpse like that doesn't fully hold on its own. And let me tell you why. And this is what makes it last. Let's check how to receive it. All right. Step four, receive. That glimpse of worth you just touch, well, a glimpse is not the same as living from it, right? And here's the honest part about self worth specifically. And it is so important. You cannot fully convince yourself that you matter alone. It just doesn't work that way. We don't function as just lonely individuals. Worth is something received. We come to know our own value by being truly seen by other people, right? Now, inside alone, it fades away. Maybe a powerful realization, even from a deep journey, it tends to soften within days if it's not whole. The old groove is very patient and it's very resilient. It just waits for you to be alone again to just come back to old habits. What really sets the new groove is integration. And integration is the afterword, reflecting, practicing, weaving that new sense of worth into your actual daily life. That's what makes it stick. That's what makes it permanent. And worth, especially, has to be received. It lands when steady, caring people reflect your value back to you over and over again, reinforcing it until it finally becomes your own inner voice. So, a journey can open the door, but walking through it and staying on the other side, that happens in a container. See you. That's not my sales line. It's simply how word works. And it is exactly what our community was built out to be. All right. Now, what being seen looks like. Check this out. These are words from our founder. She's saying, I want to tell you about her story because her story is it goes exactly like this. She spent like 2 decades believing underneath all her outward success that she just wasn't enough, and inside alone was never the right fix for it. She understood the that those patterns were very deep, and her parents were still, well, making her feel unworthy, even though she understood them. What actually returned her to her own voice was doing the deeper work, and then being by being held by a community that actually reflected her values back to her over and over again. I know that you are starting to see the pattern. Until she finally believed it. And she built this whole thing so that other people like me and you could be seen in that way too. And these real people we've walked with, well, one walked in braces, very anxious and left with a compassion for herself that she never had. The other one, she learned that she could be there for people without carrying their weight. And with that, she actually found peace. Another said that for the first time, her body felt safe enough to rest, that she stopped having to earn this space and time for her body to heal and actually sleep and have a restful sleep. Their word was never actually gone. It just needed the right space and the right people to come home to. So the real question is, where are you with your own sense of worth? You can type it in the chat, wherever you feel you are right now with your own sense of worth. And because we right now have a very simple and private way to find out. I'm going to give you an assessment because I hope to see you guys next week. I hope to see Shante, Sharisha, JD, Sanam, and Rachel, and Jessica. I hope to see you next week. So I'm going to provide you with some assessment. Okay? Now, you caught the not enough boys tonight. That's the first step. That's real work. If you want to know how deeply that story is running for you and the gentlest way back to your word, well, I'm gonna again ask you to text the word worth to 239-441-4331. Remember that this is a free private check and it's about 2 minutes and it's yours to keep. There's no string attached. And if something in you is leading in tonight, there are two doors. All right, pick the one that fits where you are. If you're curious, a free 30-minute conversation, that's door number one. Bring the voice you caught tonight, and we'll help you see the way back to your worth, including whether a microdose path or a journey might fit you. All right? No pressure. This is out of script. I'm just happy for you and I'm happy you are here because tonight, if tonight made you want to actually live from your worth and not just a glimpse of it, I want to remind you that this happens in community. That's why I'm glad to see some old faces here, and I will be glad next Tuesday to see the same faces I just saw today. Just by joining the temple as a member is what opens the guided circles. This is where your value gets reflected back to you, and those begin this July. Actually, we're starting right now this same week. So, just so it's clear, the circles are for members only, and becoming a member of the temple is the doorway to that community. And honestly, there's no wrong door. All right? No wrong door tonight. Even just taking the free check or coming back next week, it's a very beautiful step. It's real. And whenever and whatever you are welcome here. Okay, this is your space. You can be here. We are going to have a little chat in a few minutes when this stream ends, so you can share your story and we can all feel heard. Okay. So here's where I'll leave you tonight. You remember you were always enough. And this is not a slogan. As I'm saying, I'm not marketing anything. Is what you touched for a second that matters to me. When you picture that child, that's what matters to me. The story you just covered, that's what matters to me. And tonight you learned the very beginning of how to uncover it, notice it, name it, return to yourself and receive all this love that is all around you and available for you. The first three steps you can start right now on your own tonight. But that last one, the receiving your word, to be truly seen, that is the part that you don't do alone. And that is exactly what we are here for. All right. Now, as a reminder, and to close this, remember just to text word to 239-441-4331 for your free check. This call, the call link and all our info are on screen right now. And whether you want a conversation or you want to learn about the circles or you just want to come back next week and keep practicing, all of this is welcome. I'm going to stay on for a few minutes after I finish the stream. For anyone who wants to talk, I'm just gonna end the stream because if you want to share, some personal stuff, I don't want it to be, left on YouTube or in the stream. Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm gonna end this. Please stay after the outro so we can have our own little circle. Okay.
Thank you for showing up today. Your willingness to explore, to question, and to awaken matters. If what you heard resonated with you and you are ready to take this deeper, we are here for that conversation. Psily Girl provides trauma-informed coaching and integration support in affiliation with Temple of Heart-Awakening.love. Schedule a 1.1 call with me using the link in our bio. Let's talk about your journey.